Hey, it's Rob Wog. We're still talking shit. I just interviewed Lips from Anvil, and so just before I show you the clip, I had to chop it up a bit, so it might jump around a little bit because I did the interview, and then we said our goodbyes and that, and then we just kept talking shit, and there was a whole section where I thought we'd still work in the interview, so you'll see it, and then I put the goodbye at the end. I chopped up the goodbye, so it might look a bit fake the goodbye, but it all makes sense. I just thought I'd chuck it in. It's just me. If it's funny fucking shit, I'm gonna put it up. Anyway, enjoy it. It's fucking Lips from Anvil. Cheers. Um, hey, it's Rob Bog. I'm here with the one and only Lips from Anvil. How are you, mate?
I'm good.
Yeah. So
I'm
look,
in Canada.
I know. So a little thing that's we're all excited about is this.
Yeah, right. I get it. So are we.
I know, right? It's funny. I was talking to uh the guys in. I just did an interview with the Rods the other day, and we were talking about, and I think it was you that said that you haven't played together like forever. And
Yeah, it's been a lot, quite a while. Probably at least it's got to be close to 10 years ago.
wow, and finally you
Yeah,
come back.
I think yeah, it is. It is 10 years ago because it was before we got the bass player, our permanent bass player.
That's crazy, isn't it? It just didn't align,
Yeah.
but it's going to align in Australia, right?
Yeah, but I mean, we've been in touch and been friends all through it. I mean,
Yeah,
we've known them for years, particularly Carl.
yeah, yeah. Well, let's start from the start. I think the funny thing is, I remember hearing, and I don't know if I'm right. Correct me if I'm right, but the band, the I mean, Anvil started as a high school band called Lips. Is that right?
Yeah, even before that. So
Wow,
yeah, yeah. Rob and I have been playing since together since 1973.
wow, that's awesome.
So most of, for sure, most of our lives.
Yeah. It's funny.
Um,
So
originally the the band names were quite interesting. We had called ourselves God, GAWD, and also Gravestone.
oh wow,
Of course, there's been gravestones that came after it, but
yeah,
in 1973 there were not. um, Well, I think that it was, you can tell even from that very quickly that we like Black Sabbath.
of course.
Yeah.
So growing up with Rob, going to school, you were school friends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So growing up, I can only reflect how it was for me growing up as a kid in the 70s. You find your local record store, and you migrate there, buy your records, and you learn about music through a record store back then. So and then through the 80s it became more heavy metal stores. They just got heavier. Did you have that sort of scene back in where you're from?
Well, truth be told, I'm not, I've never really been one of those record store people.
Right.
I, Rob definitely was. And in fact, Rob even belonged to one of those Columbia House. So he'd have records sent to him by
Yeah, right.
mail. Um, and he's an avid collector. And I heard and learned about most of my music from Rob.
Right.
I He owns it all, but I just listen to it all.
Yeah.
He was sort of like the filter system. If he's
Right.
playing a song for me, it's worthy to listen to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because years later they go, somebody asked me, "Have you heard this album and this song?" I go, "I don't know." And then I'll find out, oh, it's from that album. Okay, and it's sometimes I don't know the song because Rob didn't like it, never played it for me.
Yeah, right.
So I mean, I mean, I'm honest with it like that,
Yeah.
and because quite frankly, I didn't, although I had my very finite favorites, you know
Yep.
what I mean? And that's what I kind of stuck to. And I'm still there,
Yeah.
generally speaking, I'm still there. I haven't changed. We you hit 18 and you stop mentally growing.
uh,
Yeah, you might physically get fatter or, or a little bit taller, but generally, whatever you grew up with I guess, between the ages of 14 and 18 stays with you forever.
yeah, for sure. It's like your blueprint for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and no matter whether you want to or not, that's what you're
Yeah.
most attracted to. And at different ages, people who are born at different times have their favorites, and
Yeah.
you can't blame them. Like there are people. I mean, I came to realize that it's, of course, with even our Anvil fans, that people that grew up with the Metal on Metal, Forge and Fire, and Hard and Heavy album, they're in their late 40s, 50 years old now. And they're still listening to this stuff.
100%.
Oh
So,
no, I think my Wi-Fi's just took a shit.
no, you're right. You're still moving.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny, isn't it? Like they always say once a metalhead, always a metalhead. But I
Yeah.
don't consider myself a metalhead. I don't know. I consider myself a music head. I just like music.
Yeah. Well, that I could probably say that more easily than I'm a metal
Yeah,
guy. And
for
in
sure.
fact, at this point in my life, I'm not. You wouldn't classify me as a metalhead.
Yeah.
Not to today's. No, man. I still like the Beatles. You know what I mean?
Man, I was listening to
And
Empathy about Humperdinck.
I'm sitting on the edge of my seat waiting to hear the Rolling Stones album.
Yeah, yeah,
And I know I'm
for
not the
sure,
only one, but to me it's better late than ever.
for sure. So look, so school band, you and Rob, and then you became Lips, right? And then you got signed.
Yeah, but once we, I we were in a Rob and I joined a band called Kickback. Okay.
Awesome.
And unbelievably, the guitar player from the band, I gotta remember the name of them. Uh, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
But it was before I decided that, or came to the conclusion that I'm going to sing.
yeah.
So what happened was we went out with this band Kickback. I had to learn like 30 songs in a week. So, and I'm not a copy musician kind of thing. And it was like, oh, this is bloody hell, is what it is. It's like, look at what I'm being put through. You know, I, do I really want to have to play Led Zeppelin songs? No, but I'm doing it anyway. Anyway, of course, you're under a lot of stress because you've learned 30 songs, and the bass player and the singer were they have this expectation that it's got to be perfect, and it's like, I am trying to be perfect, but I'm in being perfect, I'm not going to jump around on stage. I'm standing there looking at my guitar neck, doing a Bad Company song or something, and the singer goes behind me and starts punching me in the kidneys. It's like, what the hell? I lose all my breath, and I'm standing there. What am I putting up with? And he's going, "Well, you got to jump around, you got to make a show, and we're on stage." And it's like, you just punched me out on stage, and you're telling me to go jump around? You're an asshole. Needless to say, from that point on, I mean, it was only a day or two left with they were trying to get the band, that we, with the new members rebooked and all. And of course, at that point, I just said, we're done. I'm done. I'm not going to continue.
Yeah.
And the band, of course, didn't continue. Um,
Right.
And from that point on, I said to Rob, I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna start singing.
Right.
It's ridiculous. Why are we depending or having to depend on somebody like that?
Yeah.
And the guy doesn't even sing as well as I do or have his unique a voice. Why am I wasting my time?
Yeah.
And then on top of it, being abused. What the hell?
I'm just going to close this window.
I didn't want to have to sing, and my first option was let's get a singer, but after dealing with that kind of crap,
Yeah.
no, man, you just no. So after that band broke up, we started in on writing, completely writing. So we
Yeah.
wrote a lot of the first album material in around that period of time. And when I say we did, I mean it was Rob and I. There was no one else.
Wow. Wow.
There was no one else. We started. It was a pretty bare bones, but this is already some time after Gravestone and God.
Right.
This is years later now,
Yeah.
but we're in our 20s, we're gonna and we were wanting to become more like really professional, no more going to school,
Yeah.
like they were going to go on the road. We're going to be do what you do when you're in your 20s,
Live
gonna
the
go
dream.
take yeah, you're gonna go take on the world.
Yep.
So what eventually happened was we put an ad. Of course, once we had enough songs, a good enough repertoire, which is about 20 or 30 songs, and we just started looking for other musicians. So we put an ad in the newspaper, in the Toronto Star, and the one of the first guys that called was Dave Allison,
Wow.
and the first conversation it was it became apparent very, very quickly this guy could be, although it's only maybe the second or third phone call we've ever gotten on this, uh it sounds like this could be the guy. So let's go down. We got to drive over to his house. So we drive over to his house and we come in, and of course he's got long hair. He's a blonde guy. He looks the fucking part, right?
Awesome. Yeah.
So uh, I plug into his amp, and I start showing him School Love,
Wow.
and within 10 seconds he's playing the song,
That's
and
great.
not the way I do, like an alternative version of it. You know
Wow.
what I mean? And going, oh, that's really interesting. And when we both played, it sounded so, wow, that's unbelievable, and you're sitting with somebody that you met 10 minutes ago, you know what I mean?
That's
What
great.
the hell? So very, very rapidly, it just went, you know what? Pack up your amp and your shit. Let's go down to the rehearsal place. Let's start. We got to put some drums to this.
Excellent.
And that's pretty much how that started.
Wow.
Now, once we got into the rehearsal hall, we had also gotten a bass player that was a fair bit older than us, and he was from the States, but he was living here. He was a draft dodger. He
Right.
moved up to Canada to avoid getting drafted. So he's a few years older than us. So when he came into Canada in the early 70s during the Vietnam War, when it still was going, that's how he ended
Wow.
up in Toronto. So uh, we were, I guess, maybe the second rehearsal, third rehearsal with the guy, and it's like we hoped that he could sing, and he was terrible. So Dave immediately goes, this guy is like, no, you know.
He called it.
Yeah, I said, yeah, whatever. So that guy was fired within a day or two, and we just kept, as three guys, we kept rehearsing every day. And what was happening is, of course, we were the only guys. We were the guys who always had pot. So all the other musicians and we're the heaviest band in there. All the other musicians that were at the rehearsal hall were piling into our room and hanging out. So there's this bass player which was Ian,
Yeah.
came into the room, and he was showing up every day. He really loved the band. He wasn't there really to smoke any pot. He was there to actually. I'm loving your
Wow.
music, man.
That's awesome.
But he was in another band, and we're going, well, we're thinking we should ask that guy. I mean, the guy really looked the part. He had the long hair, the whole
Yeah.
bit. It's like that guy should be in our band. And the band that he was in was with this balding singer and a bunch of geeks. I mean, honestly, like these guys, it didn't even look like a real band. You're going,
Yeah.
what the hell? It looked more like the YMCA. You know what I mean? It's more like that. It's like
Yeah.
anyway. So what actually happened? We go and the singer from the band was actually a friend of Rob's, and the guy said we were saying, well, "What's up with Ian?" Like he's going, "We're going to fire him." I'm going, "You're going to fire him? When?" He goes, "At the end of the week, we're playing a club," and the club wasn't far from where we lived. So as we went down to the club, and uh, the guy, we were there when Ian was handed the envelope to say
Right.
that you're fired, right? So they hand him the envelope. He reads it and he's like, "Oh man!" And I go, "Hey Ian, we want to talk to you right now. Come with me. Come with me." He goes, "Huh, huh?" And we pull him off and go, "Listen, tomorrow, bring your gear from the other room to our room. You're going to be in our band." And he goes,
That's
"Oh yeah,
amazing.
okay, I'm in." And
What
that
an
was it.
awesome story.
So that's the way that actually came to be. That's how that became the Lips band, right?
Wow.
And some of the stuff, we were very, very steadfast and stubborn in the sense we're going out original. I mean,
Yeah.
for the most part, I've been writing original since I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
That's how I actually learned how to play, was
Yeah.
by creating and experimentation.
Yeah.
Try that, try this, try
Yeah.
that. You have to have an imagination. You have to have an imagination to write. If you don't
Yeah.
have that, you can't write. But that was the heart and soul of me, is to
Yeah.
be creative. It's not.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying playing cover tunes was like, oh, how can they do this to me? It's yeah. So
That's
it
great.
was quite interesting. So what happened was, we had all these originals and we're practicing, and everybody in the rehearsal hall is hearing the first Anvil album. They don't know what it is, but they certainly are loving it.
Yeah.
Um, so some of the booking agents would come down to the rehearsal hall, see
Oh,
who
wow.
and what is going on, right? So this this manager booking agent makes his way into the room, and he goes, "Well, that's really great, guys. You ought to pick up a few Led Zeppelin songs." So Rob stands up, he's sitting on his drum throne, and he stands up and he goes, "Listen, buddy, get your fucking ass out of our room. We're not a cover band. How dare you? You just dismissed everything that you just listened to. Get the fuck out of here."
That's awesome.
I just, what a history, man.
That's so good.
Right from day one, it's like, fuck you, we're gonna be who we are and what we want to do. It's just like, and
That,
eventually what happened was we gained a lot of momentum.
yeah.
Uh, by going out of province. Like we went into where they speak French, and where
Right.
they speak French, they're hardcore. They're just hardcore rock people.
Yeah.
I just got back from there yesterday. I still go to Quebec, and it's still the number one place to play in all of North America.
Wow.
Still, you can't compare this audience to anywhere else in this side of the world. You can compare it to England, you can compare it to Germany, you can compare it to anywhere in Europe, but you can't compare it to anywhere in the States or anywhere else in Canada. Okay,
Wow.
so like what I was witnessing in Quebec City is just like holy stuff. I haven't seen this since we played in Berlin.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's like what the hell? That's almost a year ago.
Yeah.
So it's that became our stomping ground was in Quebec, and we gained a lot of momentum there and learned how to actually perform without having to speak the language.
Right.
So you got to be able to put a show on
Yeah.
and have everything without having to speak.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's actually quite remarkable. You're forced into learning how to put on a good show. So we had everything from explosives, and there's lots of stories about that. One of our roadies blew all of his front of his hair and all his eyebrows and everything. It blew up right in his face. I mean, some of the stuff is just remarkable. We had a song called from the first album called "Ooh Baby."
Yeah.
This particular roadie, the light man, he would sing backups, believe it or not, from the light board. So he had a microphone on a stand as he's sitting there, tapping the lights and making them go off and on. He's ooh baby anyway. So at the beginning of the song, it's supposed to it's there's there were these like a thing that we called a maroon,
Yeah.
which was which was an old 35 millimeter film canister, and you'd fill it with triple X gunpowder, and then put a wire fuse through it, and then use black tape, and you tape the whole thing up. Then the little fuse is put across, the positive and negative but we put it inside an electrical
Wow.
like what you'd mount the sockets or light bulbs or whatever the
Yeah.
actual electric, and then we take a milk carton and put it over top of this, okay, and then you flip the electricity and kaboom, right? So now the electrical box had an outlet, like a regular outlet, and you plug it into the extension cord, and the extension cord went back to the light board, right? And then when you flip the switch on the light board, it blows up. Well, the guy flips the switch on the light board and nothing happens, but he left the switch up.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? He goes over. He goes over to where the thing is, and he sees, oh, the plug's pulled out. That's why. And he plugs it in, and kaboom! So that's, and we're like going, oh no, right? And he goes back to the board, and when all the smoke clears after you see what's happening, his hair was sticking out all over the place, right? And his face was black all, all over it. And he goes and he starts singing "Ooh Baby" like Al Jolson.
Oh,
I'm
great.
fucking, I just pissing myself on stage. It's just like the guy going, "Ooh, baby." He's doing the hand motions and all of it. It's like, oh my God.
Oh, That's fucking awesome. Oh, what a story.
Yeah, I mean that's the early days in Quebec, right?
That's awesome.
And and I mean you can't do these things. It's completely illegal.
Yeah.
It completely illegal. You know, you don't you don't set gunpowder bombs off in a club anymore without a license at least.
Uh,
Yeah, so yeah, I mean those are the early beginnings and stuff that we went through. You know, it's a lot of fun,
that's
really.
amazing.
At the end of the day, it's great to look back and go, "Oh man, remember this?"
Making
And
memories, man.
believe it or not, the guy that I'm talking about, uh, his history, he was Tony Iommi's guitar tech.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, now it's fascinating. He was a doorman at one of the biggest clubs in Toronto called the Gasworks,
Yeah.
and Tony and Geezer were coming in every day during the recording of Never Say Die.
Wow.
So Bess, the guy I'm talking about, Barry or Bess or whatever you want to call, he liked to be called Bess. Well, Bess was a left-handed guitar player. So Tony, knowing that, he told Tony, "I'm going to play left. I'm left-handed. I'm a southpaw," and all this, you know, on and on. So Tony goes, "You know what? I'm going to give you a job. What the hell?"
Wow. Wow.
So they gave him a job as their roadie, um, and I mean, I guess the antics started right there. They, of course, they started playing really dirty jokes on Bess. Um, really awful stuff. Going, oh my God. Of course, Bess had no idea he's gone to England and they're going to play someplace in Scotland. So Tony and Geezer tell him that, listen, you haven't got the paperwork or the work visas to go to Scotland. It's a different country. And we're gonna have to hide you. So they stuck him in one of the transport trucks and one of the lorries that they call them inside a base bin. Okay. This guy's sitting in a base bin for like from London to fucking Edinburgh, something like
Wow.
that. It's like 6 or 8 hours he's in this fucking base bin. So
Uh,
they get they get to Scotland and they get him out of but before they get out of the let him out, they went to the police station and paid the cops to arrest the guy and take him down to the station. So they let him out of the basement and the cops took him away to the police station. And after the show, they finally went back to the police station. Okay, now you can come with us. It's all good now.
oh man. That's amazing.
Oh, I mean that's so having these, it's just serendipity, just things that and connections of people, you know.
Yeah.
So what happened was, of course, before we even started out, before we even went on the road with this guy, Black Sabbath was playing in Niagara Falls.
Wow.
So we drove, which is only about 80 miles or just over 100 kilometers. So we drive down there, and of course it's on the U.S. side of the border. And we brought marijuana with us. We stuck Dave Allison stuck them behind his cigarettes, right? And there was 5 guys, and he had 5 joints, right? So they they pull us into the bin and into the customs, and the guy finds the pot right away. Let me see your cigarette back. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Guy goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're all under arrest. So it's like, oh no. So what actually happened? Um, it was during Jimmy Carter's presidency, so
Wow.
it was much more lax.
Yeah.
It wasn't that big a deal. We weren't going to jail. Okay,
Yeah.
it wasn't that. And in fact, the border guards felt bad. They could see that we're pissing our pants. They could see that we're desperately want to go see Black Sabbath, and they can understand. Okay, Black Sabbath, you're bringing pot. We get it, but we're charging you. And at the time, it seemed like a huge amount of money, $50 US.
Yeah.
Give us $50, or we're not going to let you through, and we're going to keep your car. Right.
Wow.
So we walked back across the border to Canada, went to the bank and got $50 American and brought it back, paid the guy, and the guy goes, okay, go. That's it.
Wow.
We're not going to bust you. Your names are not written down. You're all good. You can go. And like, wow, got lucky.
That's
And
awesome.
so, of course, we get to the show, and immediately they know who Bess is. They go, come on in, guys. And we're going, holy shit. So, we're seeing, we met Van Halen and Black Sabbath that day.
Wow.
And it's kind of interesting that, all these, I swear, I'm still friends with the Sabbath guys ever since then.
Yeah.
It's just, what's amazing is what an influence that band was on us and on me particularly, and how I got lucky enough to actually meet them at I was 21 years old. Like,
Wow.
what the hell?
That's awesome, man. That's a great story.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just telling you some of the history, the early history of where things began, and this was
Yeah.
before we even did a gig. We
Wow.
weren't even Ian hadn't joined the band yet. It's like weeks before Ian joined the band. Otherwise, Ian would have been with us.
It was meant to be.
Yeah, it's just the stuff that's just meant to be. That's right.
Yeah.
Pretty remarkable. So that those kind of things.
Wow.
You ask about the old days. Oh yeah, it's just endless.
Yeah. And ultimately it led to that.
That's right.
I
And
mean,
that music, like I said, was written way early.
yeah.
Way early.
That's a great album, man. That's such a good. I was saying to the guys in the Rods, like, you don't, like, I interview a lot of bands, I see a lot of bands, but there's some people, like, even with Ross the Boss, I said this. You guys of all three bands have all written records that today you can put them onto kids today and it holds up, and not many people can say that. You know what I mean?
No, it's because in that day and age, to get a record deal, you had to be unique. You
Yeah.
had to have something that no one else had.
Yeah.
It's really as simple as that.
Yeah.
If you had something that was unique and that none of the other bands were doing, you're going to get signed.
Yeah.
Because that was the nature of it. We need something different.
Yeah.
There's no point in a label signing another Alice Cooper, right?
Yeah.
Or another Deep Purple or another Black Sabbath. They need something that sounds completely on its own.
Yeah.
All the bands that we're talking about, whether including Anvil or Manowar or even the Dictators for that
Yeah,
matter,
for sure.
and certainly the Rods,
Yeah.
And the Rods are also you got David Rock Feinstein, which was Ronnie Dio's cousin, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, there's all kinds of also really important connections
Sure.
throughout. But the Rods had a uniqueness to them, whether it's vocally, whether it's musically, whatever it is, they sound like the Rods, and only they sound like that. So give them a deal, and they got a deal, right?
Yeah.
So that's why. So of course it stands up. And
Yeah.
that's why a lot of and there's a lot of nostalgia
Oh yeah.
in that, of course, right?
Yeah.
And music encapsulates a time and era, and people
Yeah.
don't let. And if you're born and were raised and were introduced to this stuff, it's like me going to see Black Sabbath. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
You hold on to these things for. So today it's kind of nostalgic, but having said that, we're all we're all in our 60s and stuff. Um, but Anvil in particular has stayed relevant
Oh,
and been
100%.
putting out albums all
Yeah.
along.
I mean,
So it's not like we
your first
once
two
were.
albums.
We've been all along.
I mean,
Yeah, that's just the first two.
that's right.
There's 18 other albums.
I was getting there, but those first two albums like were such an impact in the music scene at the time. Like they, like you're right, like with Manowar and the Rods, the years were paving the way, and those records really paved the way. You know what I mean, and I mean
Yeah,
that.
what's really fascinating, the Metal on Metal album is actually a blueprint of what happened to metal,
Yes, that's
of
what I'm talking about.
everything that happened to metal.
Yes,
The song "Stop Me" was like a an AC/DC ish sort of thing,
yeah,
and represented somewhat, and or the song "Scenery" represented sort of the commercial aspect of what happened with metal.
yeah,
And then you had songs like Jackhammer, March of the Crabs,
yeah.
and 666, which became speed metal
Yeah, all the
20
way
years
to Canada.
before it happened. You know what I mean? Um, and I'm not trying I'm not bragging about it.
No, no.
I'm talking about it very matter of factly,
Yeah,
and that's how what I'm saying.
yeah,
And it happened innocently.
yeah.
You know,
It can only happen that way.
it didn't happen without having been influenced by Motorhead
Yeah,
and punk,
for sure.
right?
Yeah,
And it's
100%.
interesting. It's interesting. I mean, I could talk about the direct influences and where I got some of the movements in the song, but they're not done like where I got it from.
Yeah,
Um, like 666 as an example, although it's using double bass drums and it's
yeah,
much more aggressive, but the where and how it got its name had to do with the chord changes.
wow.
So the way that the verses worked is the bars of music, like when it goes, chains of death have been unleashed. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, da 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 da. Then the next lines are 6 beats long,
Right.
and there's three.
Wow. That's
And
awesome.
I said, when I was explaining to the guys what I'm doing, I go, the first one you go 4, and then you go 6, 6, 6, and then I went, hey, that goes in the bond 6, dun, 6. It's the song 666. That's
Awesome.
how that came.
That's great.
But the chord, the da 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 da. It's. I got the idea from Budgie.
Oh, wow. I love Budgie.
Yeah, but that's where I got the idea from. I think it's Bread Fan, actually.
Yeah.
It's Bread Fan from the song Bread Fan
Yeah.
did that to me. It imprinted that.
Oh, right. I get what you're talking
Right?
about. Wow.
Yeah, so everything comes from something else,
Of course.
but not because I was copying it. It's
No.
just that it imprinted in my brain,
Yeah.
and it comes. You absorb it and you let it out, and it
Yeah.
comes out in pieces all over the place. All your influences. It's
That's amazing.
actually pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's I'm just giving you some of the back end of what and how the stuff came to be. But
Yeah.
you're doing it innocent. You're
Yeah.
not. It's not I'm going to create speed metal. You don't even. You're not. It,
Yeah.
you know, we had a song that we called Pussy Poison, and actually I believe it's on. We had a song, an album that the record company was on the demo tapes that we had given them when we first signed the record contract. We had a song called Pussy Poison, which
Right.
they ended up putting the song out on the Backwaxed album, whether we liked it or not, and it's only the demo version, right? And that was really the very first song that had the really fast double bass drums.
Wow.
And it was our interpretation of what Deep Purple was.
Yeah.
And, and you know,
Yeah.
that's that's the way it came out. Instead of doing, a single bass drum with the top rhythm being, the snare and hi-hat being like, let's say, I don't know, Fireball or Highway Star. Or
Yeah.
you play double on the bass drum, so go underneath the
Yeah.
da 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 da. Da. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And of course, Rob had that. Hey, listen to this. Oh, fuck, that's cool, man. And you chugging right with it. You go, listen to that. Oh, yeah, that's cool. You're not thinking I'm creating something no one else did. You're just thinking, well, it's cool. That's all you're thinking. So when I talk about this stuff, it's not bragging. I'm just telling how it happened and where it
Yeah.
came from.
Yeah.
Right? But at that day and age in 1977 and 70, between 75 and 77, no one was doing
Yeah.
that. Why would they be? We were, as it was really, really difficult to get the band booked
Yeah.
playing original material. So you could imagine the uphill
Yeah.
battle it was to get recognition.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's the stuff I'm talking about right here.
Well, you definitely got recognized because they're two big albums, like, and like you said, like they're not your only albums. Like one thing that you guys have just been like paving the way through your whole career, like album after, it was like 20 albums or something.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
crazy.
we just finished 20.
There you go.
Yeah, that's
Not many bands
yeah,
can say that.
but what's really fascinating, um, this particular album, and I'm not going to be like most musicians. You always hype up what you've done most recent.
Yeah.
Usually I don't. Usually, like on the last album, I just said it's another Anvil album. What the hell do you want? I mean, the album a couple of albums ago, Anvil is Anvil. Fuck it. You know what I mean? You want something different, you're not going to get it. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like tongue in cheek, and after 45 years, you're not thinking about things like you did when you're 20.
Yeah.
So, but this particular time, I went about it from a different perspective. And what do I mean by that? In going in, instead of going into rehearsal with bits and pieces and then work my way through it, I put everything together at home before I went there.
Yeah.
I knew exactly how many how many riffs go in the verse, how many courses, where they go, everything. The songs were totally written before I went in and showed the other guys.
Wow.
And that's something that I never really only the last two albums have I done that with.
Yeah.
And the difference is they're pure.
Yeah.
And they're not interrupted. It's not because they're uninterrupted writing.
Yeah.
when you write with a group of guys, you don't, it's, there's interruptions.
Yeah.
And I can give examples, and not only are there interruptions, but also interjection of parts and stuff that doesn't actually really belong.
Yeah.
And you end up with
Yeah.
early Anvil. Well, actually, middle era Anvil, where I've got there's too many cooks. There's just too many cooks.
Yeah.
It's actually so true.
Yeah.
But I'm two in one. I'm the vocalist and the guitar player.
Yeah.
Who else? That's usually what writes in a band. Why are
Yeah.
you asking a bass player for parts? Unless you're going to have the song really predominantly be bass. And having said that, it's the same thing as you're expecting the drummer to write the songs or help you write the songs, but there's no musicality. It's
Yeah.
only about arrangement or tempos or
Yeah.
segments of songs or bridges or so it's not it's
Yeah.
not it's not like asking the vocalist, which is the most important guy to ask.
Yeah.
When you're writing a song, where does the singing go? That's what you're doing. The singing is the most important thing. Why are you're putting the singing in, the thought for singing in last? It's a great instrumental, and now you're going to stick some vocals on it and hope it works. That's not.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
That's what became different today, and it's not that Rob's in what he's asking us to do or not. It's still there because I might, even though these songs are finished, once he applies the drums, sometimes I go, oh, wait a minute, we got to do this or that. We got to change this part where I thought, I got, okay, I thought this would work. Okay, it's not working. So you know what? We got to do, I need a re-entry here. So can we, there's little things, and it goes, I know how to do it. We should do this or that. Like we have a song called Dead Man's Shoes.
Yep.
And although the arrangement did end up that I had completed it, but instead of that, we played a chorus section, and you sing the chorus, and then it's a re-entry back into the next verse. Right. It's actually really hard to explain when you at some point you'll hear it and you go,
can't wait to hear it.
Talking about. And it was Rob. He goes, no, don't play two chords, just the first one, or the first half of it is just is you by yourself, and there won't be singing on that. Yeah. And then once we're going to read, and there's not going to be anything on it, it's just going to be you playing by yourself, and then we're going to come in with it. Wow. So when I went to apply the singing, I go, wow. I mean, even though my arrangement was still the same, it's just the application of where Rob said, I'm making this a re-entry. I'm not playing drums through it. Wow. And you're just going to play your part, no bass, no nothing. And we're going to come in after that section. And when you listen to it completed, you're going, fuck that. Without that, the song isn't even a quarter as good. And it could be something that simple. So you don't say intervention is bad. It depends on what it is.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Yeah,
100%.
But as the main songwriter, it's going to have to be up to me, and you have to take the bull by the horns, and you have to take the responsibility for this shit. Plain and simple.
Yeah. I love it. I can't wait to hear it. Jeff told me he's doing an album, and I was like, let's do this. I want to hear it.
Yeah, no, I'd say it's one of the most, out of all the new stuff so far, it's you'd wonder, what are they going to do next? Well, it takes it to the next level, even above the last one. And everyone is kind of going, how the hell these guys are getting older and they're writing better songs? How the fuck does that work?
13 was like that for me, because I obviously followed Anvil, but like when 13 came out, it was like a massive hit. I was like, wow, fuck, 13. And I think that's when you became a three-piece, right? A power trio. Yeah, it
That's right.
just that album, man.
Yeah, you know that
It's like
that's an
fuck.
interesting that's an interesting transition that
Yeah,
very few people understand. You get you get all these guitar players who wish they were in the band sending me emails telling me that I need another guitar player, which I don't. But the thing is that I find so stupid about it is that you guys have been listening to a three-piece Anvil since day one.
yeah,
The second guitar was always added afterwards.
yeah,
other than other than other than a few songs with Dave Allison, other than a few, not all.
yeah,
It's not there were songs he didn't even play
yeah,
since the first album, like the song Bedroom Game is an example on the first album. He
yeah.
doesn't play a fucking note on it.
Wow.
Hey man, you guys need a third guitar player. There isn't. He sounded better when you had him. It was a three-piece fucking band.
No, I
Thanks.
think
You haven't. You think you're noticing a difference when there isn't one.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's psychological,
Oh yeah.
and it's what people see is what they're perceiving, but they don't realizing that what you see and what you're hearing could be two different things.
Yeah.
You're not even and not you'll not know
Yeah.
unless the guy who's was there tells you, hey, listen to that closely. Like anybody going back and listening to Jackhammer, to Winged Assassins, Motor Mount, Bedroom Game,
Yeah.
um, uh, even March of the Crabs for that matter.
Yeah.
The only actual rhythm sections that he did in March of the Crabs are the bum 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 bum. He didn't do. I
Well,
did that.
definitely as a power trio, like I saw you because I worked for Soundwave when you first came over, and I saw nearly every time you played that on that tour, and you don't notice that you don't need another guitar. It's just perfect as it is. A power trio.
Well, you know what? The bass player that we have in this day and age that's been with us for 10 years, man, what a God gift. It's a God gift.
Yeah.
No, it's to me, it's the band has never been as good as it is now. No, no way. But the people argue with me all along. But for me personally, how I feel, I've never had as much confidence in in what I'm doing or that much. It just it's a lot better. Okay, first of all, you, and I go back and I think about it. What we really always needed was a really because our favorite music never had two guitars.
Yeah.
My favorite shit never had Black Sabbath never had two guitars.
Deep Purple,
Led
Rainbow.
Zeppelin did not have two guitars. There were certain bands that were all about two guitars, like Thin Lizzy,
Yeah.
right? That's a different thing. I
Yeah.
wasn't doing Thin Lizzy,
Yeah.
okay? I never have been, other than
Yeah.
maybe the song Scenery. That was the closest we ever got to the Thin Lizzy, where we're actually
Oh
using
yeah, yeah.
guitar parts with harmonies.
Yeah.
But I mean, those are actual. That's when a four-piece band is doing it correctly, or
Yeah.
with two guitar players. If you're not doing that,
Yeah.
there's no point.
Yeah, there isn't. No. You're
There's
right.
no point. None.
Yeah.
I mean, and Dave initially was strictly a rhythm guitar player and single note, full note, single note solos. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's not doing triplets and winding out and bending notes. He's just playing the little melody lines.
Yeah.
Like Scenery, that was the best you could hope for.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't an ornate player at all. I mean, he couldn't play the speed stuff at all. Not
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
because it just wasn't. He wasn't that kind of guitar player, and I don't think I would have hired him if he'd been.
Yeah.
If he'd been one of those, and I didn't want a lead guitar player. like when we initially were a four-piece, I definitely did not want. I wanted strictly a rhythm guitar player. What I really wanted was a rhythm guitar player that could sing,
All right.
and
Yeah.
that's what we hired. That's what
Yeah.
Dave was.
Yeah. It
Um,
was perfect.
so
It was,
what I needed once Dave left, and we eventually got Sebastian. We got Sebastian Marino.
yeah.
Uh, rest his soul. He just passed away last New Year's. A young guy, 58. It's
Wow.
very, very sad. It's a huge loss to me
Yeah.
because I I really like the guy, and he ended up in the band Overkill. But that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But that's the only really that we hired another lead guitar player, right?
Yeah.
And even another lead guitar player, which we, if you listen to the Worth the Wait album, there are like there's a song called Embalmer. He couldn't play the parts.
Right.
He couldn't he couldn't do it
Yeah.
because it's like
Yeah.
speed riffing. It wasn't his touch.
Yeah.
And I ended up playing that too. So that was even on that album, it's a three piece. So
Yeah.
all these second guitar player wannabes thinking that there's two guitar players in Anvil. I'm just informing them now. Well, yeah, and some of the songs,
Yeah.
certainly not the songs that you're calling your favorite. You know what I mean? Like 666.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure even like AC/DC, I'm pretty sure Malcolm was the guy who did all the rhythms on the albums.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And it was just Angus did all the leads.
that's right.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. I'm
Well,
pretty
that's
sure.
like
I'm pretty sure.
that's like Metallica. James
Oh,
played
James. Yeah.
all
Mhm.
of it,
Yeah.
and all that Kirk does is do a few overdubs. That's
Yeah.
what he does.
Yeah.
That's it.
You
I
got to
mean,
do
that's
whatever
how you
works,
make
man.
that's how you make a recording. That's how it's done.
That's it.
You
That's
want
it.
you want it to be tight.
That's
You
right.
want it to sound completely perfect. So one wrist,
That's it.
one wrist. Then it's happening.
Uh,
Actually,
anyway.
what's interesting? Rob just wrote me a letter about an email about. I'm going to look at that. One second,
Yeah.
because we were talking, and this is just precisely what we were talking about. And I'll tell you one second. What band was it that he was? Uh, oh, it was Scorpions. Like Uli Roth says, there are early Scorpion songs that Rudolf Schenker never played.
Wow. There you go. Right there.
That's another example of it.
Yeah.
Hey, they were a three-piece band and we didn't even know it.
Power trio.
Even Scorpions did that.
I mean, one of the best bands in the world to me is ZZ Top. The Power trio.
Yeah, well, because you don't really need more.
That's right.
Come on, man. It's bass, guitar,
Yeah.
and drums. That's
100%.
what all this music is anyway. That's
Yep.
all this is anyway. Even if you have two guitars, it's still fundamentally and simply guitar, bass, and drums.
Yep. Well, that's what this is.
Oh,
Every band on this, one guitar.
right on. Hey man,
But anyway, Lips, we'll end it there. But I'm gonna say that was amazing. Those early stories are just priceless. I call them making memories, and you can't buy them. They happen naturally, and it led to a great career for you. And it's just great stories. And thanks for sharing that with me, man. Like I love it.
well, I can't. We're gonna have a great time, man.
Yeah, for sure, for
We're
sure.
gonna have a great time. I cannot. I can already tell.
I
There
was
you
saying
go.
to I was saying to my partner, I said, fuck, I'm gonna start because I hadn't brought a band out since pre-COVID, right? And I said to her, fuck, I think I'm gonna start bringing bands out again. And I just went, I'm just gonna bring out bands that I grew up loving. And that's what I was like, fuck, Manowar, Anvil, Rods. I just put the bands that I want to see.
Yeah. Well, there you go. But you're not the only one, man.
No, no, I
You know
know.
what I mean? You really aren't. These are the hardcore original where there a lot of the originality of where metal came from.
I know.
You that's a thing. It's not. This is all pre-Metallica,
That's
and
why I
for that
called it
matter,
Metal Forces.
it's actually even before Iron Maiden. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah. I mean,
it's fascinating.
I've been on the road with Iron Maiden. I did 2.5 weeks with Maiden, and I'm more excited about this.
Yeah, because it's more obscure.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what the most attractive and way metal people think.
yeah.
If everybody
100%.
knows who you are and you have a hit, you suck.
True.
Have have you heard the song by so and so that no one else has heard? Oh yeah? What is that?
Right.
Then all of a sudden it piques interest. I want to hear what no one else has heard. I
That's
want to
right.
be the guy that discovers.
100%.
I own a Lips album, right? To have that our first album, although it's identical musically to the Anvil Hard and Heavy, everybody wants the one with it's just got a different cover. You buy the other one for $20, but pay 500 for the one that says Lips on it.
I know. It's
I
crazy.
don't get it.
Oh man, and it's
That's
vinyl.
that's that's metal. That's
Yeah,
metal. That
I
is
know.
exactly what I'm talking about.
I know. It's
I
actually,
want to long for the obscure. That's what it is.
yeah. I actually putting out an EP on 7 inch for Dave. It's the first 4 songs he recorded with Joey from Manowar
Oh wow.
from 1978. So that to me, that's
And,
what
and that's more of what I'm talking about.
exactly
It's
it.
obscure. More and these are the things that I've realized since day one. And that's why I've never commercialized Anvil
Yeah,
because I don't want as it is as it is with the movie kind of nixed it. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
there are people that go, "You guys didn't need a movie." You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
I know.
And old fans are going, "You didn't need a movie," and I didn't need to be told about you about who you were. I knew long before everybody, and now you're famous. Hey, we had a Greek promoter that brought us to Greece before the movie, and as we were actually filming the thing, and we saw him at a festival, Keep It True, and
Yep.
he goes to Rob, "Now you're famous, I won't book you."
That's funny.
Now you could make money, you don't want to make the money. Okay, whatever. But
But you know what's funny about that movie is it wasn't just the story of Anvil; it's the story of so many bands. You know what I mean?
oh, absolutely,
And that's what I
absolutely.
loved about it
And
because Anvil
yeah,
is
but it's telling the truth.
the truth. That's what I was about to get to. Yes.
And no band wants to admit what
Yes.
the truth is.
There it is.
That's what separated it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was brilliant and it really did work in your favor at the end of the day. It really did. And it was a great and it was good to see some of that old footage as well.
Yeah,
and
right, of
yeah,
course.
yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, the other thing that made it fly as well as it did, the first 5-10 minutes of the movie shows the past, and
Yeah.
the rest of the movie is in real time. What are we
Yes.
doing now?
Yes.
Who
Yep.
cares about what you did? What are we doing next?
That's
And
right.
it was enthralling because we didn't know what was going to happen
Yeah.
next.
But
They're
isn't it?
filming away, right? You
Yeah.
got shit's going on, and you go, "What the hell?" And they're filming it. Like I end up in almost a fist fight with a club owner. Never happened to me before my
Yeah.
entire career,
Is
but
that
there
when?
it was, and they caught it on tape.
Yeah. Am I mistaken? Is that when 13 happened?
Yeah,
Yeah. And look at what happened. Like that album is just, it really like it kicked through. Like you every I love every album that you have done, but that album when it came out, it was just another breath of fresh air. I was like, wow, I can listen to this record. You know, the
yeah.
song
But
13.
we had finally, well, we finally got production again,
Yeah.
right? We up until that time we were just doing albums on our own with an
Yeah.
engineer.
Yeah.
But we went back, and the filmmaker Sasha insisted that we go back to Chris Tangarides,
Yeah.
right? And which he said it's the full circle. So you're going to give everybody, you're going back to the same with the same producer, and but this time you're going to do it in England, and he had this vision, and I'm going, we are.
Awesome, man.
But you know, when I started to come, I mean, I knew immediately, if I'm going to make a run of it, I better stand up and get counted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to cost me 13,000 pounds. Who fucking cares, man? They're making a movie. And it's not some guy with a video camera. It's a real fucking guy from
Yeah.
Hollywood. You know,
Yeah.
it's going to be a Hollywood production. It's not
Yeah.
going to be some Bobo shit. You got to stand up and be counted, man.
Yeah.
So to me, it wasn't really a risk.
Yeah. No way.
And Sasha was right. At the end of the day, he was absolutely correct, because getting Chris Tangarides was a great idea because it separated 13 from the other 12.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Even
very, very clearly that sounds way better than you have for a really long time.
yeah. But
And that's what it needed to do.
it even happened to Metallica when you look at what was that something the monster, or what it's called, some kind of monster. That was
Yeah, right.
that was a train wreck too. Like if you watch that, that's the truth about people at that stage of their life.
And it's diametric opposite.
Yeah.
They got guys that got fuck all and they're having the time of their life, and you got guys that got everything and they're miserable as hell.
Yeah.
What?
I know, right?
I never had to go to rehab. You know what I mean? I've never almost died like Mickey Six.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what real fame, too soon, too fast,
Yeah.
and too much does.
Yeah.
To the human psyche, it makes you not well mentally.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, there's a lot I stay away from.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't really long for I don't want to be Metallica. No bloody
Yeah.
thanks.
No.
I really want to go on stage for 3 hours a fucking night. Not really. I'm being honest.
No,
That's
I get it. I get it.
hard work, man.
Yeah.
And the stress.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm not in front of 300 people. I'm in front of 30,000 people.
Yeah.
So when I'm singing bad because I haven't had a night off and I've got to do 3-hour sets, I don't want to be there, man.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, these are things that James actually made me come aware of. I'd love to. And then after having a good conversation with James, I started realizing, no, I don't.
Yeah.
You know, he's telling me he's been in the business for 30 years or something, and he's finally getting his way to take a night off.
Yeah, like
on the tour. He says, I need a night off. I can't fucking sing like 3 hours a night and then go do it every fucking night. I need a night off.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't give him the night off. Do you know what it means to take a night off? You're putting all of the roadies. I got 300 roadies. They're all going to be out money. You know, you got everybody's depending on you. Get on fucking stage and do it.
Yeah.
And he was telling me about that, and I'm going, no thanks, man. I'd rather do an hour and a half, and then I can do it every night.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you follow what, and you have to think about it before you jump, you know, so to speak. So I mean, and I think it's important for me to make it very clear that I got everything I wanted out of this the way I wanted it.
Excellent.
And ultimately, that's really important.
Yeah.
And that's what gives you the longevity. You're not going to quit when you've got had your way all along.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to walk away to something that you hate, but I've been having the best time. I'm really a fulfilled, content person.
Excellent. Yeah, for sure. For
You're
sure.
gonna have a great time. I can already tell.
Awesome.
I,
Well, I'll let you go, but thank you so much, and we'll all see you in March.
okay.
Cheers,
I
man.
can't wait. Can't wait, man.